Sanbanan, welcome to my page. And if you're following me from YouTube, welcome to my channel. Last week we talked about part one, which we articulated hard work not being enough, but just being the starting point of accelerating your career. And today I bring you part B. So basically, we talked about competence. We talked about communication and visibility. Visibility, we mentioned that it's not you being popular, but you making sure that the right people that can make decisions regarding your career growth are seeing what you're doing. You're visible to them. So the fourth pillar that we're going to discuss today is about relationships. Do you have relationships with those people that matter? Relationships really, that's why we talk about networking, and it can be it's a long subject. I could make a whole video about it, and so if you want me to expand on that, you can just like put that in the comments. Otherwise, it's relationships within the organizations and relationships outside the organizations. Within the organizations, the leaders, the managers, co-workers, if they have a mentorship program, if they are managing their talent, if they have a coaching and a mentorship program, then you want to have a relationship with the coaches, with the mentors. If there's no program, you could also initiate, approach a leader that you know that they add value, you admire them, whatever work ethic, whatever part of their career that you admire, you could ask this person to be your mentor. And if they agree, then you are in a better place, because what you want is that when you're not in the room, when now they're discussing career growth, they're discussing promotions, you want your name to be top of the agenda. Of course, the most important relationship is one with your manager. That's the first person to advocate for your growth, because they work closely with you. They know your strengths, they know your weaknesses. But I know that at times that relationship can be strained because of other reasons. But just to make sure that you actively manage it, and just always have your manager in your corner. But your manager has a manager, and if it's a hierarchical organizations, I mean, it can be layers and layers. So you want to target the right people. In those relationships, you're not being selfish and approaching them just, take, but you also want to give something. You want to make sure that it's authentic. Basically, establish authentic connections. Make sure that you bring value. If you're asking for 30 minutes of their time, make sure that it's worth it. So research, think about what you're going to talk about, think about their priorities in their organization, in their departments, think about how you can contribute to that. I've said it all over, even throughout my videos, that managers love problem solvers. So if you're going to solve a problem, they will definitely love that, and that will give you an opportunity that will give you access to some of the leaders that you ordinarily have had no access. Organizations differ. Sometimes they are hierarchical, so like if the culture is more hierarchical and authoritative, you find that you've got less access, and therefore you have to thoroughly look at the channels that are available. But for organizations which are less hierarchical and there's an open door policy and managers or leaders are more accessible, then by all means, make sure that you can ask for a 30-minute session. Ask them. Some of the things that you could ask is basically, it's when you're new in the organization, it's great, because you could be asking about, what are the pain points? What advice would you give me? But if you've been there and for a long time, and maybe you've never done this and you want to start, still, again, it's not a problem. Tell them about what you want to achieve. This is what I want out of my career. I've been thinking about my next step, and basically, in order for me to grow into 1 2 3, I need to be able to take up more responsibilities. I need to lead projects. I need to demonstrate my capabilities, whatever that will look like. But just be upfront about what you want. But also, other relationships that are key are from your coworkers, and they're also from your friends. Those relationships are key, because they're going to those are people that know you and can be honest with you. Yes, they're not with you, like for instance, friends are not with you at work, but they are parts of you that they know that you don't know. We coaches all the time, we talk about, well, most coaches talk about the Johari window. It's a framework that helps us to be more self-aware, and that framework talks about, it's got 4 quadrants, and one of the quadrants, so basically there's one quadrant which you called it the open arena, where you know yourself, you know your skills, you know your competences, you know your temperaments, basically your strengths and your weaknesses. But also there's another quadrant where you don't know. We call it the blind spot. So why it matters to have friends that can give you feedback, or coworkers that can give you feedback, It matters because then you get to know what you don't know, as well as performance discussions. If your manager is giving you feedback and say, hey, your strengths are one, two, three, but this is one area and that you could improve in, always take that feedback as gold. So your relationships are going to be meaningful if you're also asking for feedback, if you're taking that feedback and you're actively improving on it. So then relationships outside the organization, you want to establish those, especially when you are attending conferences, webinars. I don't know what channels are in your industry, in your workplace, what that will look like. But also, LinkedIn is another space of just getting connections outside your organization. But you want to know, you want to be able to have influential people outside the organization that know your capabilities, that can speak for you. That if you had, for instance, things were not working out in your organizations, or there are no opportunities to grow, you know that there's some people that are a call away, that know exactly your value, your skills, and your competence, and that can speak and open doors that ordinarily you would not have had access to. So that's what we mean. And again, those relationships are delicate. You want to make sure that they're meaningful, and you want to make sure that you are always showing up in those meetings prepared. um, so if you're attending a conference, basically just always connect with people. And I found it easy to connect with people during conferences because you're all about work, and so you take one subject and or one topic, and you can talk to somebody about how you are doing that. Let's say for instance talent management. I could talk about how in my organizations I'm doing, how I'm approaching that subject, what am I learning, what are the gaps, and then I'm also asking from them, from your experience, how have you addressed one, two, three, so you find that it's easier to have such conversations. And then make sure that you really keep them. I know sometimes we are busy and keeping relationships can be a task, but those connections, once in 3 months, once in 6 months, whatever frequency that you can agree with that person. The other pillar again is adaptability. This speaks to your ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. I've talked about this quote that I love the most by Alvin Toffler, which says that illiterate of the 21st century will not be those that cannot read or write, but those that cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. What are you learning? Are you keeping up to date with what's happening in your industry and in your field? What is the latest information available? Do you have those skills? So always be that person that is doing an inventory, skills inventory, looking at what are the skills that I have, what are the skills that are now outdated and irrelevant, that I need to let go and learn, and then what is the new that I need to learn. And then you're just constantly on that mode of unlearning, relearning, and also, I mean, some models they talk about, there's a RAM model that talks about reskilling, upskilling, multi-skilling. So those are some of the frameworks you can adopt to make sure that you are always constantly improving your skills. The feedback that you receive from your friends, from your coaches, from your mentors, from your manager, are you learning? Are you taking that and having an active plan to take to manage that and actually close those gaps? You're going to accelerate your career if you're closing the gaps and making sure that you're keeping up with the trends, as keeping up with the trends of what's happening in your organization, of what's happening in your field. Then the last pillar is strategic self-advocacy. I know for this one, most of us would just want to stay in a corner and say our hard work will speak for itself. No, we talked about visibility as a third pillar, and this one just speaks nicely, ties to this one. Self-advocacy, you need to speak. It's not your work. Your work does not have a mouth. I've seen some people say your work does not have a mouth. You are the one that's going to advocate for your own career growth. I think one of the things that I found strange in New Zealand when I came, I had a coach, and my coach was asking me, what do you want? I had never been asked, what do I want? You're just used to like what job is available, and you take that, and you just. By the way, they challenged me. What is it that you want? Because when you sit and you have clarity about what you want, then you're able to advocate for that thing. You're able to ask for that thing. You go to the leaders and you're clear about what you want. So when you're clear about what you want, you're going to be able to say, this is the value, these are my skills, this is what I want, this the dream that I have and the growth that I want at this point. Therefore, can I please be given the opportunity? Advocate for yourself. So as it can be direct, but also it can be indirect. How you can also approach this is those meetings which I talked about, where I don't know what activities you'll be doing for you to be visible, whether it's projects that you're doing, collaborating with other units, with other departments. In those projects, let people see who you are, your work ethic, your values, how you deliver, and they're the ones that are going to be advocates. Or in those meetings, you always specify and tell them what you want, because just now they are your colleagues, but they have better relationships. So by doing that, you are accessing their networks as well. They say your network is your net worth. So advocating for yourself can be direct, but also indirect. Indirect as well, as if you have a leader, like I talked about, some organizations are big and leaders, maybe they're not accessible. It's like once in a while when you get to see a senior leader. Make sure that the conversation that you're going to have is meaningful. Read, care about what they care about. I talked about managers caring about problem solvers. Managers have got problems, and if you come as a problem solver, you've done half the workload, and then you speak about what you want, you speak about your dreams and your career growth plans, you advocate. And so that, especially if you start hearing about new product lines, diversification, start reading what that will look like, start looking at how can you contribute towards that, and have a conversation in the context of what the organization wants to accomplish. You want to make sure that when leaders are sitting in a room, your name is top of the list. They are thinking, this person should be part of this new work that you are doing, should be part of this new project. So thank you. Basically, hard work is the starting point. That summarizes what we want to do. One of the things that I want to challenge you this week: when was the last time did you approach a leader and you talk to them about what you want? If you haven't done that in a long time, I challenge you to connect with one, ask for an appointment, connect with them, and then articulate what your needs are. And basically, you will be surprised how much people are willing to help. Throughout my career, I've been helped by different people. I'm here because I'm always reaching out to different people and connecting authentically, with people. Otherwise, if you appear as that one that is just rushing and taking, and you're never giving anything back, think about how you can also give back to those relationships so that you come across as authentic. But I've been helped, and I know that people are always willing to help. So yes, that's a wrap. That's part 2 done. So just to recap, part 1, we've talked about competence. We've talked about communicate that value and that competence to the right people, that you're being visible. And then what are the relationships do you have relationships with the people that matter? And are you adaptable? Are you continuously learning? And then are you advocating for yourself? So that's a wrap. I'm working on my masterclass, and I'm going to keep you informed of when we're going to have it. But it's going to take into consideration all those tips and more, basically how to pivot your career, how to accelerate your career, and then and give you tools as well to manage that journey. Keep in touch, and also give me feedback, comment on what other subjects that you'd like me to discuss. Basically, I drop videos every week talking about career tips. So remember, it's your career, it's your choice. Thank you very much for your time.